So my daughter comes home with what can only be described as obviously an absolute preschool masterpiece. She had doodled a beautiful something and then cut it into a million little pieces. And she proudly told me that she had made a puzzle, which I thought, oh, that's super cool. I love puzzling. So, I wanted to solve it, of course. She did have to ask me a few times because life. And finally, I thought, you know what? She put in the effort. Let's do this puzzle. But it wasn't a normal puzzle, you guys. There was no box, right? There was no reference image, no real obvious clean edges or anything like that. She had just used these really thick, kind of like chalky, they're crayons, but they kind of work like a marker. It's this very odd hybrid of art supplies. And she had pressed really hard in some spots. It was super dark. And then other spots, it just sort of faded away. And the pieces technically fit, but it wasn't always making sense as I was trying to put this together. But the wild part was that she knew exactly how it went together, which I mean, she should, right? She was the artist, she was the creator, but I'm telling you, so many pieces. And it wasn't like a picture of a rainbow or a sunshine or anything like that. It was just abstract art, okay? So that's why it was really baffling. And so as I'm working through this puzzle, I realized that puzzles have stages because it's like the stages of grief, and I was walking myself through them as I was trying to complete this puzzle and thinking, oh my gosh, I've had this exact same process occur in my life before. So what are the stages, you ask? I'm going to tell you. Stage 1 is the I've got this phase. Like, obviously, it's a preschool puzzle, right? So you sit down, you're feeling confident, you think it's going to be fun because puzzles are supposed to be like a great recreational activity. You might even relax a little bit, maybe have a little cup of tea while you do it. And I, of course, always, anytime I am puzzling, I channel Winston Bishop from New Girl, which if you haven't watched every single episode of New Girl, you must. In my mind, it is like the modern day version of Friends. And Friends is by far the best show on the planet. If you want to fight about that, we can. But I'll win. So anyway, there's joy here. This is like optimistic. Yeah, a little bit delusional with the confidence, but you believe this is going to go well. This is going to be a fun activity. And then you really kind of get a little more strategic. Stage 2 is where you implement the edge strategy. That's obviously where you start. You get to work, you find the corners, then you do all the edges because you figure if you build the frame, then all the other stuff in the middle, the messy middle, it'll just kind of fall into place. But at least you have the structure, right? And I think this is how we approach life too. We build the routine. We create the plan. We try to control the structure of our lives, and then we assume, okay, here, I've organized it. I've got a great outline. This is going to be just fine. And then stage 3 hits, which is the inevitable slowdown. You finished the edges, and now you just have the rest of it. Yeah? And at that point, there's no obvious matches, really. You're not getting the quick wins you were getting before. There's just those really subtle differences, similar colors, and then there's those really pain in the ass pieces that look like they're gonna fit, but they don't. And this is where it stops being fun and it starts being work, right? Then once you're not having fun anymore, you hit stage 4 and you start questioning things. And you ask yourself over and over, do I even have all the pieces? Which I'm going to say in this particular scenario was an even more valid question than any other time I've done a puzzle, because this preschool puzzle had been cut up during the day at class. and then had commuted home. And so who knew really? Like I said, there was no box. I didn't know if it was a 25-piece puzzle or a 30-piece puzzle. I just collected what was in the cubby, put it in the backpack, and found out later that I had to reassemble. So I was very sincerely questioning, like, something must be missing. I've looked at everything a million times. Nothing of what I have left is fitting. There's no way. There's just no way that they're all here. And I think in this particular moment, most people don't recognize it for what it is, because it's not about the puzzle anymore. It's about what we do when the options that we have available to us don't seem to match our current needs. Yeah? So then though, right when you're about to call it quits, throw in the towel, you hit stage 5, which is the breakthrough. And out of nowhere, one piece fits another. It's clean. All of a sudden, it's so obvious. And that shifts everything, because you start to remember, right, it's just a puzzle. I can handle this. It is a preschool puzzle. You've got this, Lindsay. So you start to get a little optimistic again. You hit stage 6. There's light at the end of the tunnel. You get a few more pieces to click into place or just slide into place, as was the case here because we were working with paper. And it doesn't happen all at once, but enough, you get one, you have a little lag, and then you get another one, and so you're puzzling away enough to see progress and feel that momentum and actually believe that you're gonna finish the thing, which feels good, right? Because then you're in it and you don't want to give up. She had abandoned me at this point because I was taking too long. She went to play outside, and so I sat at the kitchen table alone on a beautiful sunshiny day because I refused to give up until I finished this puzzle. So then I hit stage 7. I'm at the final stretch, okay? And it's just steady because I'm getting less and less pieces that I got to work with. And I'm not trying to do any shortcuts. I'm not forcing anything. I'm just grabbing one, doing a little scan, and placing it where it fits, right? And so then at this point, you kind of sit back and you look at it. And there it is. It wasn't easy, but you did it. The puzzle is complete. And you feel like a genius. And then there was this part that hit me later that I didn't quite expect. But I started remembering the last time that I had actually done a puzzle. And it was a few nights before my father-in-law passed. And my husband, my sister-in-law, and her partner were all kind of gathered up in his room, and it was a tight space, so we kept going in and out to the hallway, etc. And there really wasn't anything that we could fix. This wasn't a puzzle we could solve anymore at this point. We were just had a lot of time to sit and wait. And so we did a literal puzzle. I went down to the gathering room where the residents there would eat their meals and things, and they had some puzzles, and I grabbed one that was this beautiful ocean scene, and it was really hard, like really a hard puzzle, and it was huge, but we thought, well, we got the time. So not only was the puzzle hard itself, but just everything surrounding it, right? Our brains were foggy. We were really, really tired. No one had slept in an actual bed. We were, folding up blankets and using them as pillows and sleeping on the floor, quite literally. And piece by piece, though, we got this puzzle together, and we kept taking turns. A couple of us would sit out there, and then we'd go back in and be by his side. And so together, gradually, we did finish it. But looking back, in that particular instance, I don't really think it was about finishing the puzzle. I think it was about having something to do and something to hold on to, something we felt we could control a bit, while everything else felt really, really uncertain. And it gave us focus when we were right smack dab in the middle of grief. It gave us movement and purpose in the middle of this very uncomfortable stillness that we had no choice but to allow time to pass through. And it definitely gave us connection when we felt like we did not have all the answers. And it felt like a true group collaborative project. Everyone contributed. Everybody snapped in several of the key pieces. And it really felt necessary. That puzzle, it felt like it was part of the process. Like it was meant to be there, and we were meant to work through it together. And so here's my main takeaway from this experience, my preschool puzzle and then my reflection. Not every puzzle comes with a picture. Some look like the one that my daughter made, where the picture was only in her head and it was uneven and the pieces were really inconsistent. But yet, she had made it with intention, and she knew what it could look like, what potential it had, even when I didn't. So I think if you happen to be in a stage where it feels like nothing is clicking, no matter what you do, or you're questioning if you even have all the damn pieces, or you're tempted maybe to force something into a spot that doesn't actually fit there. We've all tried it, right? But here's the thing, friends. You are not behind. You are not missing anything. You're just in the middle. So I say, keep puzzling.